The Paul Silva rule for 2025 made turned up exhaust on sprint cars illegal. So why are teams still running it? Well, we'll talk about a key distinction there today. Plus, World 100 wraps are everywhere, West Virginia Motor Speedway's new look, and a whole lot more. Let's go. It's Wednesday, September 3rd. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is DIRTRACKR Daily presented by Kubota Genuine Parts. If you're a dirt racing fan, I likely don't need to tell you that it's one of the biggest late model weeks of the year, with the World 100 starting tomorrow at Eldora Speedway. If you can't get to Eldora this week, though, and you want to watch, you'll need a subscription to Flow Racing. And if for some reason you don't already have a subscription, you can sign up and help out DIRTRACKR at no additional cost to you by heading over to DIRTRACKR.com/Flow Racing. Signing up means you'll get to watch hundreds of races a year, including this weekend's World 100. And that's really just on the dirt side. They've also got drag racing, NASCAR events, road racing, and plenty more. A lot of other sports as well available from the other Flow verticals. Grab a pass at DIRTRACKR.com/Flow Racing, or you can click the link below in the video description or the Flow Racing links at DIRTRACKR.com. You guys that have been around here a while know that we talked a bunch in 2024 about turned up exhaust headers on sprint cars. Paul Silva showed up with them on Kyle Larson's 57, kind of midsummer. And it didn't take long before they were showing up a lot of other places, including in regional racing and non-wing competition, and that was after Larson kind of started melting faces. Back in January, though, we did a daily show where we talked about a new rule for 2025, which I obviously coined the Paul Silva rule. The wording read specifically, quote, elbows on the exhaust after the header tube enters the collector will not be allowed. All exhaust must exit toward the rear of the car, unquote. The reasoning behind the turned up exhaust is different depending on who you ask, but the one that made the most sense to me was keeping added heat off the tires and rear shocks. Don't let me stand in the way, however, for whatever your favorite theory is for why this was put in place. In recent weeks, though, I've had multiple messages kind of across platforms and even some comments, including there was one on the show yesterday, about these types of headers kind of being seen again. The non-wing car that Paul Silva brought out to Calistoga this past weekend had them, that one that Logan Seavey won with, and Rico Abreu's 24 has run them at some of the races on the West Coast, and that included at Douglas County and some of the California high-limit races. The messages usually want to know how Rico is being allowed to run them, even though they were deemed illegal. There's a very key distinction here, though, and that's the series being run. Only the World of Outlaws added that wording to their rule book. High Limit, in the course of all of this, did not. And this is one of a handful of rules differences that have been in play all season between the two sprint car series. Another is the shock adjuster that we've talked about that's allowed by High Limit and not allowed by the Outlaws, and those in-wheel tire inflators that High Limit greenlit this season. High Limit did clarify some verbiage around those turned up exhaust setups, with their rule just saying, quote, any header that is not straight out the back of the car with or without a muffler must be welded where the bend connects to the header and to the muffler, unquote. So while you won't see them at any of the World of Outlaws races coming up during this West Coast trip, they are still legal under High Limit rules. And for Rico specifically, it looks like it's something that he and crew chief Ricky Warner used to tune their car for specific conditions. Sometimes you see them, sometimes you don't. It's usually on smaller tracks, not usually on the bigger tracks. And even Silva doesn't use them all the time. At Calistoga, Seavey's car had them, but the wing car that Spencer Basin was driving in the NARC shows did not. So if you see them, High Limit legal, Outlaws illegal. With action at Eldora getting started tomorrow, World 100 special wraps are starting to be revealed by a number of teams, and I wanted to show off at least a few today. I know these are floating around online, so you've probably seen at least some of these. I've got 12 here that I grabbed this morning, and I wanted to kind of start showing these off. I apologize if you're listening to the podcast, because obviously this is not going to be very good for you listening in the car, but I encourage you to go either find the video on Facebook or find the YouTube video to see some of these. This first set, these are schemes for Bobby Pierce, Ricky Thornton Jr., Jordan Kohler, and Dylan Thornton. Pierce with the wild look, the kind of neon pink here that they got going on with the flames on it. And Jordan Kohler's car, his just might be my favorite out of all of these I've seen so far. Love that throwback look, the black and the white, kind of the cool numbers on that one. Not a big change for the DRT car. And then Ricky Thornton Jr. there with the white and the green. That's kind of a cool look there. Up next is Hunt the Front, Tim McCreadie, Carson Ferguson, and Bailey Curry. Hunt the Front confirming here they are running the 19M number and the Rocket with JCM. That's been a question kind of leading into this. McCreadie has the very cool barefoot bob throwback. Certainly don't hate that one. I like the modified bar on the door. Carson Ferguson has the kind of construction dozer wrap, and then interesting throwback look for Curry and Nice Motorsports. And then the final batch here is Ryan Gustin, Ethan Dotson, Devin Moran, and Brian Shirley. Gustin going with the Buzz Lightyear for the Infinity chassis, obviously to Infinity and beyond. Dotson, another throwback here. Moran, not a huge change from his usual look, a little bit kind of different with some details and some colors there, but still all white for Moran. And then Shirley rolling out the gold, which reminds me of cars that he ran, 7 or 8 years ago that had kind of some of the gold fleck in the wrap. But drop me a comment. Let me know which one of these is your favorite, if there's another one out there that has caught your eye. But you will start seeing all of these tomorrow and Friday at the World 100 for those prelim nights. The newest attempt to revive West Virginia Motor Speedway saw a big update yesterday as promoters shared images of the new, much smaller track configuration. As progress on the reconfigure has continued in recent months, they've been sharing videos and photos to social media, so this wasn't a big secret. But yesterday we saw what looks to be a fairly complete new track layout, including lights, infield tires, and outside guardrails. In its original form, WVMS was a massive 5/8 mile track that struggled under a previous attempt to bring it back. So big, it kind of felt like Talladega. The size of the track and the speeds that were possible, I think, really kept some teams away, and the effort was eventually abandoned. New promoters Mike and Becky Hurley made the decision to shrink the track down to a 3/8 with the hopes that they can get things going there again. Work's been going on there all summer. A lot of work, obviously, as you can see, moving a lot of dirt, getting everything done here. The first official race at WVMS will take place on October 11th. They're running a 5,000 win show for super late models with modifieds, sport mods, and pro late models on the undercard. That was originally the date of the 75,000 win race at Pennsboro Speedway. That has since been canceled. There's been no communication out of Pennsboro since May. There's a 15,000 win show at Beckley the day before with the Southern Nationals and ULMS, so they might just be able to draw some cars to do West Virginia over that after that one. The Hurleys also announced yesterday they have acquired Elkins Raceway, which is about 2.5 hours from West Virginia Motor Speedway. Work has already begun there to make improvements as well. If you'd like to follow progress, find West Virginia Motor Speedway and Elkins Speedway over on Facebook. At the IMCA Super Nationals, we are now through 2 race days with a whole host of new winners from last night. Tony Olson won the Sport Mod Race of Champions. Blake Lunenberg was the Hobby Stock Race of Champions winner. Dylan Richards was the Sport Compact event winner. Jake Sackow won the night's Sport Mod qualifying feature, and Corey Vanderwilt and Brandon Nielsen took the 2 Hobby Stock qualifying features. Your Wednesday schedule includes qualifying for stock cars, modifieds, hobby stocks, and northern sport mods. Cars are expected to be on track early this afternoon, although there is some weather in the area, so keep an eye out there if you are wanting to tune in. That's the show for today. Don't forget, if you want even more dirt racing content, make sure to follow Dirt Tracker across social media. That means Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and more. Wherever you are, so is Dirt Tracker. Just search out DIRTRACKR. Hope you guys have a great Wednesday out there. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.